Chapter 1. The chipped mug warmed Rose's hands, the lukewarm tea doing little to soothe the persistent chill that settled deep in her bones. It wasn't the kind of cold that a blanket could fix. This was a coldness that seeped into her soul, a quiet ache of unfulfillment that had become a constant companion. Her small apartment, meticulously organized and spotless, felt strangely empty. Each item had its designated place, a testament to her orderly nature, but the overall effect was sterile, devoid of the warmth and personality that should have reflected the woman who lived within its walls. Rose, a social worker dedicated to helping others navigate their emotional turmoil, found herself strangely adrift in a sea of her own quiet despair. Her days were a blur of case files, client meetings, and the endless paperwork that seemed to multiply like rabbits. She poured her energy into supporting others, leaving little for herself. The exhaustion wasn't just physical. It was a deep, bone-tired weariness that clung to her like a second skin. Evenings were spent in a repetitive cycle of light meals, a few pages of a book she couldn't seem to concentrate on, and then sleep, a temporary escape from the gnawing emptiness. She glanced around her apartment, her gaze lingering on the framed photographs on the mantelpiece. Pictures of smiling children, grateful families, and even a few celebratory shots with her colleagues at work. They were reminders of the positive impact she made on other people's lives, but they also served as a stark contrast to her own internal landscape. The photos were vibrant, full of life and connection. Her own life, however, felt muted, lacking in the vibrant hues that her work so readily illuminated. Her reflection in the window pane showed a woman who looked far older than her 32 years. Dark circles underscored weary eyes, and the lines around her mouth spoke of unspoken anxieties and suppressed emotions. The crisp lines of her tailored blazer and neatly tied hair were more armor than fashion, a protective shield against a world she felt ill-equipped to face. The truth was, Rose didn't know how to ask for help, how to admit that she, the pillar of strength for so many, was teetering on the edge of emotional collapse. Weekends were worse. The silence of her empty apartment amplified the quiet hum of her discontent. She tried to fill the void with small, predictable tasks, organizing her spice rack alphabetically, meticulously cleaning her already spotless bathroom, or even attempting complex origami figures that ultimately ended up crumpled in a heap. These activities, though providing a temporary distraction, offered no lasting comfort. They were hollow attempts to fill a void that only she could address, a void that grew wider with each passing day. The feeling.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?